Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching SAMAA News. Here are today's headlines.
President Donald Trump said that Iran is making very big concessions in ongoing peace talks with Washington. Speaking to reporters, Trump said that the US was winning by a lot as both sides work toward a permanent agreement under a 60-day roadmap negotiated with the support of Pakistan and Qatar. President Donald Trump has claimed that Iran assured Washington that no tolls, insurance fees, or other charges will be imposed on ships using the Strait of Hormuz. In a social media post, Trump warned that if the information proves false, negotiations between the two countries would end immediately. He also clarified that neither any money has been given to Iran, not released from its frozen assets. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said that Washington will not do anything that undermines the security of its Gulf allies in negotiations with Iran. Speaking in Kuwait, Rubio said the United States would remain fully aligned with regional partners as talks with Tehran continue. Iran has pushed back against criticism from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, accusing Washington of being the main source of instability in the Middle East. Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Baghaei said that American intervention and support for Israel continue to fuel conflict across the region. He was responding to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's comment a day earlier that peace and stability in the Middle East cannot be achieved while Iran-backed groups continue launching attacks. Iran has made it clear that it has no plans to allow UN nuclear watchdog Chief Rafael Grossi to inspect nuclear facilities damaged during the war. Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi said that any decision on inspections will only be discussed in a final agreement and after sanctions are lifted.
The UN nuclear watchdog will carry out inspections in Iran soon, following an interim peace accord between the United States and Iran. But modalities have yet to be finalized. International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi told a press conference in Japan that they will be working on the modalities, dates, procedures, places, very soon.
Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani has held a meeting with Oman's Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said to discuss the future management of the Strait of Hormuz. The discussions involve Iran, Iraq, and Gulf Arab states. Moreover, Pakistan is being proposed as mediator for negotiations, considering how the country managed the Iran-US conflict.
The United States has successfully conducted the first test of the Golden Dome defense system. According to US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the Golden Dome system detected multiple threats and successfully intercepted its targets, adding that the test was carried out on schedule and every threat was effectively neutralized. He said President Trump is turning former President Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative into a reality, adding that the Department of Defense will become stronger than ever through the Golden Dome program. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has begun a Middle East tour in earnest, seeking to reassure Gulf allies who view concessions in President Donald Trump's Iran deal as too generous to a regional foe. Asked on arrival in Abu Dhabi if he planned to address allies' disquiet with the accord, Rubio told reporters that it most certainly will come up in these discussions. He said they would also discuss issues not covered by the Memorandum of Understanding. He said he would not be asking regional allies to contribute to any reconstruction fund during the trip. The US Senate has backed legislation directing President Donald Trump to halt US military action against Iran, the latest rebuke of the Republican president from an increasingly restive Congress. The Senate voted 50 to 48 in favor of the War Powers resolution. Meanwhile, in a post-late night, Trump criticized the vote, calling it poorly timed and meaningless, and accused those who voted in favor of providing comfort to Iran and making his job more difficult. 3 stranded tankers carrying 5 million barrels of crude oil are exiting the Strait of Hormuz, with 2 heading to Asia. Shipping data showed that South Korean-flagged VL Breeze, a very large crude carrier carrying 2 million barrels of Qatari condensate and Abu Dhabi crude, passed the strait and is heading to Daysan. VLCC Platter carrier, chartered by Indian Oil Corp, is heading out of the strait with 2 million barrels of Saudi crude, alongside Suezmax tanker Prudent Warrior, which is heading for Sohar, Oman, with 1 million barrels of Iraqi Basra crude. Both are sailing under the Liberian flag. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte is set to meet with President Donald Trump at the White House, seeking to ease tensions over the Iran war and US threats to draw down troops in Europe. Rutte, in an interview with Fox News, described the incidents of some NATO members denying US basing and overflight rights for war-related activities as isolated, saying hundreds of US planes took off from US bases across Europe to support Washington's war. NATO spokesperson Alison Hart said Rutte's visit is part of the final preparations for the July summit in Ankara. India and the United States have discussed pathways to conclude an interim trade deal after talks between its Trade Minister, Piyush Goyal, and US Trade Representative Jameson Greer. Greer, the top US trade diplomat, is in India for two-day talks over a deal seen as crucial to mending bilateral ties amid diplomatic tensions. The Indian government said in a statement that the two sides had made substantial progress in trade talks in recent months, adding they were committed to an agreement that is balanced and commercially meaningful. Authorities in northern France have been scrambling to restore electricity to thousands of homes hit by power cuts amid a blistering heatwave that has scorched much of Western Europe for days. Healthcare centres and critical sites were being prioritised in the effort, with generators provided to tide over retirement homes after Tuesday's outages blamed on a transformer incident. Officials said in a statement that the incident was accidental and related to the current heatwave. Record-breaking temperatures across Europe, ranging as high as 18 degrees Celsius above normal, have disrupted transport networks and forced schools and tourist sites to shut. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching SAMAA News.